Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yeah, I know others are watching, so I'm just going to give about 1 to 2 minutes for others to join, and then we'll commence um, this session. So because अभी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता लोग increase होते जा रहे हैं, तो just to make this अभी please अपने कोई questions ना यहाँ पे डालें. Like just give me like a couple of minutes for others to join, and then inshallah we'll commence this session. And walaikum assalam and hello to everybody. I'm like reading the comments जो सबके आ रहे हैं, but I think it's just fair अगर हम 1-2 minute दे दें for everybody who wants to join. This is quite interesting. I've never done a live session before, and I'm quite an impulsive person by nature. So I just was free. I had some time on my hand right now, and I just got done with a presentation that I had to give at the Foreign Service Academy regarding FATF, interestingly, and how Pakistan can get out of the grey list. And if you guys want, then I can also share some of the points that I made in the presentation on my page, and I listed some of the steps which Pakistan can use in order to get out of the grey list. If some of you could just message and let me know if your live session is this automatically going to be recorded, or is this going to be something jo matlab I have to like click on something in order to record it. Matlab, how does it essentially work? Because मुझे कोई बस मैसेजेस में बता दे कि ये जो लाइव सेशन है इसको इज दिस ऑटोमेटिकली रिकॉर्डेड, or do I have to like click on some setting in order to record it, because I want to make it available for people who might not be able to view it right now. So कोई है जिसको पता हो कि ये live sessions जो हैं so Hassan is saying that it'll be automatically recorded and displayed as a video on your page. Kindly abhi please questions na पूछें, but I'm hoping, I'm praying कि ये automatically record हो जाए, because I'm not too tech savvy myself. So at the get-go, I hope you're all doing well, and that things are going good. I wanted to be able to have a platform where I can interact with you all, and I think that YouTube, I've been asked many times to do YouTube, and personally I feel like YouTube is just not my forte. Everybody has their own comfort zone, everybody has their own domain, but mera ye nahi tha. So I thought that if I started a Facebook page, then I think the Facebook page would be the best platform to be able to interact with you all. So I think we have reached a conclusion where I am going to be sharing different points on how Pakistan can extricate itself from FATF. Now I think, so basically the way that we're going to proceed is आप लोग मुझसे questions पूछें, and I'll start answering them. But please आप लोग भी chat देखते जाएं, because अगर किसी ने अपने सवाल पूछा है, then just wait and let me answer them, and then ask your questions rather than bombarding me with a lot of questions, because then what will happen is that I'll miss out on your question and I won't be able to answer it. So Waqas is saying that I've been facing an issue in reading and writing. Please address it as you are very good in English. So this is a very generic question कि how can I improve my English and how can I get better. देखिए इसका जो छोटा सवाल and बहुत direct जवाब जो है ना वो ये है कि essentially आपकी जो अंग्रेज़ी है और आपकी जो skills हैं in terms of English वो शुरू होती हैं जब आप पहला कदम रखते हैं स्कूल के अंदर essentially. जो आपकी स्कूलिंग हुई होती है, आपकी ओ लेवल्स, आपकी ए लेवल्स हो गई, या मैट्रिक एफएससी हो गया, जहाँ पर आप यूनिवर्सिटी जाते हैं वहाँ पर आप कितनी मेहनत करते हैं, किस किस्म की अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आपको मिलती हैं. आई अंडरस्टैंड कुछ लोगों को ज़्यादा मिली होती हैं, कुछ लोगों को कम मिली होती हैं. ऑल ऑफ दीज add in and tie into how good your English is going to be. And ये अंग्रेज़ी ऐसी चीज़ है जो मैं कहती हूँ 3 या 4 या कुछ महीनों में नहीं सीखी जा सकती right before the CSS exam. And जो इशू मैं देखती हूँ स्पेशली व्हेन आई रीड अ लॉट ऑफ द एसेज जो लोग सबमिट करते हैं, वो यही होते हैं कि लोगों ने रटी हुई होती है इंग्लिश, एंड सो व्हाट दे एंड अप डूइंग स्पेशली इन द एसे की जो आउटलाइन होती है और जो एसे की जो हेडिंग्स होती हैं आउटलाइन के अंदर, उसमें दे एंड अप राइटिंग a lot of words which don't make sense, a lot of words जिनका meaning उनको खुद नहीं पता होता, and they end up giving the impression to the examiner that they are not very well versed or comfortable with English and have essentially ratified it. And so जिस मकसद से आपने वो लफ्ज़ यूज़ किया होता है to impress the examiner, वो ही मकसद आप खो बैठते हैं. तो मेरी हमेशा हर कैंडिडेट और एस्पिरेंट से गुजारिश ये होती है कि प्लीज़ जितनी सिंपल इंग्लिश हो सकती है ना उतनी सिंपल यूज करें. आई यूज्ड वेरी सिंपल इंग्लिश इन माई essay. I didn't use technical words. I didn't use difficult jargon at all. And I've actually been told that those people who speak and write well are actually able to do it whilst using simple English. It's actually harder to convey yourself in simpler English than it is to convey yourself in difficult English. So my recommendation to all of you would be कि जितने simple से simple लफ्ज़ हैं especially अपनी outline के अंदर वो use करें, क्योंकि outline का essentially मकसद क्या है? outline का मकसद है that you convey to the examiner your argument, and if you are not able to do so because of difficult English that you are using, then it essentially defeats the entire purpose of why you are writing the outline and making the headings in the first place. जब examiner को समझ ही नहीं आ रहा कि आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं, तो फिर there is no point of essentially writing those difficult words in the first place. दूसरी चीज, I always play risk free, especially जब essay होता है. तो essay it's just too risky. Essentially कुछ मेरे friends अभी वो view कर रहे हैं तो वो मुझे साथ screenshots भेज रहे हैं, पर खैर hi to all of them. So essentially essay is just too risky. देखिए आप लोगों ने सालों महीनों तैयारी की होती है CSS के लिए, और end में आके आपकी सारी जो मेहनत का जो क्रक्स है जिसमें आप बेसिकली आपका जो मेहनत जो फल लाएगी वो आपका एसे है. एसे में आप लोग क्यों रिस्क लेते हैं? वाई डू यू नॉट प्ले इट सेफ? वाई डू यू टेक सच एन इमेंस रिस्क दैट यू एंड अप यूजिंग vocabulary which is very difficult, you end up using jargon which is difficult, and you end up writing in very vague and abstract ways. एक और point which leads me to my second point कि a lot of people make points in the heading and outline which is just too vague and too abstract. So आपके जो points होते हैं आपके outline के अंदर, they can't just be phrases, they can't just be 3 to 4 words. ठीक है, like for instance how to get Pakistan out of fattest grey list, अगर ये topic for instance आता है, then you can't just write heading देके steps to get out of grey list and then नीचे कोई point आप इस तरह लिख दें कि economic coordination and that's it. मतलब economic coordination amongst whom? कौन सी इंस्टीट्यूशंस के बीच इकोनॉमिक कोऑर्डिनेशन होनी चाहिए, कैसे इकोनॉमिक कोऑर्डिनेशन होनी चाहिए, किस किस्म की इकोनॉमिक कोऑर्डिनेशन होनी चाहिए. इतनी वेग किस्म की बात अगर आप लिखेंगे और इतनी जेनेरिक किस्म की बात अगर आप लिखेंगे तो देन एग्जामिनर वोंट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट योर मेन आर्ग्यूमेंट इज. एंड आउटलाइन का जो इंटायर पर्पस होता है वो ये होता है दैट द एग्जामिनर शुड बी एबल टू रीड द आउटलाइन and be able to figure out what you are trying to say without having to open your essay. You have to understand that hundreds, if not thousands actually, thousands of people are giving the CSS, and the number is increasing by every year. The number is increasing annually. And because the number is increasing annually, the essay is a compulsory subject, and so the examiner has tons of essays to check. Now, because he has tons of essays to check, your essay needs to stand out, and he simply does not have the time to invest in each exam whereby he's going to be reading every single word and every single page of the essay that you write. He will only be doing so if you have written a stellar outline. तो आपकी जो outline होती है ना वो basically make or break होता है आपकी entire CSS journey का. So your outline essentially is where you present your arguments on a silver platter. जिस तरह मेहमान आप लोगों के घर आते हैं और आप उनको चाय सर्व करते हैं, उसी तरह outline के जरिए आपने examiner को अपना essay सर्व करना है. और वो ऐसे सिर्फ आप तभी सर्व कर सकते हैं अगर आपका ऐसे बहुत टू द, आपके आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आउटलाइन के अंदर बहुत कंसाइज हो, लेकिन टू द पॉइंट हो, और बहुत जेनेरिक ना हो, बहुत वेग ना हो. तो काइंडली प्लीज मूव अवे फ्रॉम जेनेरिक हेडिंग्स लाइक सोशल, इकोनॉमिक, पॉलिटिकल कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज और इस तरह की बातें, बिकॉज एसेंशली ये वो CSS फॉरम का जमाना नहीं है जहां पे आप इस तरह की हेडिंग्स देख के CSS पास कर सकते हैं. अब CSS जो है कंपटीशन बहुत टफ आ गया है. सारी नॉलेज जो है, सारी इंफॉर्मेशन जो है वो आजकल ऑनलाइन अवेलेबल है. सो पीपल्स पूल ऑफ नॉलेज इज इंक्रीजिंगली expanding, and CSS is becoming increasingly more difficult and more competitive, and so you really have to stand out and you can't continue to rely on basic generic terms and terminologies जो आप लोगों को लोगों ने बताई होंगी या आप आज से कोई 6-7 साल पहले जिसने CSS क्लियर किया होगा उन लोगों ने क्या कहते हैं, उन लोगों ने जो अडॉप्ट की होंगी. सो योर हेडिंग्स नीड टू बी कैची बट दे ऑल्सो नीड टू बी वेरी टू द पॉइंट, एंड प्लीज ट्राई टू मूव आउट एंड मूव अवे फ्रॉम using words which are very difficult, और ये Thucydides trap और ये सारी cliched किस्म की बातों से please दूर आएं, because I feel like the CSS has moved on and it's become a lot more competitive these days than it was before. So your attempt also needs to be, your answer needs to be unique, it needs to stand out, it needs to be different from everybody else, it needs to be more than just answers that you have ratified from Dawn, for instance, because every aspirant who is applying for the CSS that year is going to be writing answers from Dawn. So you have to be able to stand out. Foreign newspapers पढ़ें, foreign journals पढ़ें, उनके op-eds पढ़ें, Indian newspapers के op-eds पढ़ें. Try to figure out कि वो लोग क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं. तो सिमिलरली मलिक वकार अहमद भी कह रहे हैं डिफिकल्ट वर्ड्स यूज करने चाहिए. ऐसे के अंदर डिफिकल्ट वर्ड्स यूज करने से कोशिश करें ना करें, बिकॉज आई फील लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड द मीनिंग्स ऑफ डिफरेंट वर्ड्स दैट इज बीइंग यूज्ड. फॉर इंस्टेंस किसी ने अभी मैं किसी का चेक कर रही थी तो उन्होंने पर्सपेक्टिव की जगह पर्सपेक्टिविज्म लिख दिया था हेडिंग के अंदर. नाउ इफ यू मेक सच अ कोलोसल मिस्टेक and because you don't know the difference between the word perspective and perspectivism, then you are essentially going to end up failing your entire CSS journey. तो एक मुश्किल लफ्ज यूज करने की जिद में आके, do you think is it worth it to lose the entire effort and all the mehnat that you have been striving towards? So इसलिए it's extremely important कि आप लोग risk free अपनी attempt करें and try to play it safe. Acha, so now I'm going to start looking other questions, and the way that we're going to do this is that when I'm answering a question, I don't look at the chat. तो अगर मैं answer कर रही हूँ कोई question तो kindly just please wait and let me finish and then ask another question, because I can only do one thing at once and so I can't look at the other questions that are coming. So can we explain the exact quotation in our own words? I try and recommend people to not use quotations in the CSS essay. I abhor and completely detest quotations. I feel every single Tom, Dick and Harry uses quotations in the CSS essay. It doesn't help you stand out. It doesn't make your essay any different from others. और आपका पता चल रहा होता है कि इस कैंडिडेट ने बेसिकली 3 से 4 कोटेशन जेनेरिक किस्म की रटी हुई हैं, और वही कोटेशन जो है ना वो हर किस्म के टॉपिक में ठोंस रहा है, बी इट अ टॉपिक ऑन डेमोक्रेसी, ह्यूमन राइट्स और एजुकेशन or women's rights or whatever. ठीक है ना. तो kindly try to move away from quotations and try to write an answer which is a little more nuanced and a little more well researched than simply just saying कि Mahatma Gandhi said this and Edhi said that and Barack Obama said this. So I just feel like कि quotations और ये जो generic किस्म की headlines हैं, headings हैं, उनसे आगे आप जाएं, लेकिन अपने पॉइंट्स को काइंडली मेक श्योर करें कि बहुत वेग ना हो, बहुत एब्स्ट्रैक्ट किस्म के ना हो. योर पॉइंट्स आर आर्ग्यूमेंट्स, और आर्ग्यूमेंट एग्जामिनर आपकी पढ़ के आउटलाइन में इस तरह की होनी चाहिए कि उसको समझ आ जाए कि आप क्या कह रहे हैं विदाउट हैविंग टू ओपन योर एसे. ठीक है, तो आप अपना डमी आउटलाइन बनाएं, किसी को पढ़ाएं और उनसे पूछें कि यार ऐसे पढ़े बगैर तुम्हें क्या एग्जैक्टली समझ आ रहा है कि मैं क्या कहना चाह रहा हूँ, क्या कहना चाह रही हूँ विद ईच पॉइंट. बिकॉज अमूमन होता ही है कि अक्सर यू हैव एन आइडिया, यू हैव एन आर्ग्यूमेंट इन योर माइंड, बट यू आरंट एबल टू पुट इट ऑन पेपर प्रिसाइसली. तो आपको लग रहा होगा जैसे आपने सही बात, लाइक कंप्लीट बात कर दी अपनी आर्ग्यूमेंट में, आपको वो आर्ग्यूमेंट सेंस बन रही होगी, बट सिर्फ आपको बन रही होगी, एग्जामिनर को नहीं बन रही होगी, बिकॉज एग्जामिनर इज इट इन योर हेड, एंड व्हेन द एग्जामिनर इज चेकिंग योर आंसर यू आरंट स्टैंडिंग देयर विद हिम or her explaining each point. So you have to make sure that every single point that you are writing in your outline is such that it's able to stand on its own. ठीक है, which basically means that it should not be depending or relying on expansion on the essay in order to figure out what you're trying to say. आउटलाइन का मकसद क्या है? आउटलाइन का मकसद एक टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट्स की तरह भी है और नहीं भी है. टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट्स की तरह है बिकॉज इट एसेंशियली गिव्स अ क्विक overview of everything that will be included in your essay, but it's also not like the table of contents because table of contents में साथ पेज नंबर्स होते हैं. essentially table of contents का जो मकसद होता है वो ये होता है to try and figure out कि अच्छा फलां चीज कहाँ लिखी हुई है इसने, ठीक है, फलां हेडिंग जो है या फलां डिस्कशन जो है वो कौन से सफे पे है. लेकिन आउटलाइन के अंदर क्योंकि पेज नंबर्स आप लिख नहीं रहे होते तो आउटलाइन के कौन मकसद ये होता है कि एग्जामिनर को विदाउट हैविंग टू स्पेंड टू मच टाइम रीडिंग योर एसे उसको समझ आ जाए कि आपने क्या मेन मेन आर्ग्यूमेंट्स यूज किए हैं, क्या आपको टॉपिक आपने सही तरीके से इंटरप्रेट किया या नहीं, क्या आपको टॉपिक समझ आया या नहीं, आपका स्टांस क्या है या आपकी थीसिस स्टेटमेंट क्या है टॉपिक के बारे में, आपने जो आर्ग्यूमेंट्स बनाए हैं आर दे इन लाइन विद योर स्टांस और हैव यू एंडेड अप एक्चुअली कॉन्ट्रडिक्टिंग your own stance, because trust me, people do that. I'll tell you how. They end up doing it because what they do is they say ke, if the question is will Pakistan be able to move out of fattest grey list, then they'll end up saying that yes, Pakistan can move out of grey list, however it can only do so if blah 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 is fulfilled. So you're essentially contradicting yourself because on the one hand you are saying that, and by the way, whilst I'm talking I'm not looking at the chat window, so please try to refrain from writing questions right now. Just let me finish and then I'll ask you guys to send more questions. So when you are giving a stance, do not end up contradicting your own thesis statement by saying yes, this will happen, however this will only happen if these conditions are fulfilled. You can have recommendations, you can have ways in which something can be fulfilled in a better manner or in a quicker manner, but if you are saying that something can only be fulfilled if this and this happens, so what you are saying essentially is that no, this will not happen unless these certain conditions are fulfilled. So you are actually contradicting yourself because शुरू में आप कह रहे हो कि हाँ ये चीज हो सकती है, लेकिन बाद में आप कह रहे हो कि नहीं ये चीज तभी होगी अगर ये चीजें होंगी. Keep it simple, play it safe, avoid taking such immense risks, and if they're asking you if something can happen or not, then just say yes or no and then give reasons as to why you think this will happen. Another tip of mine to people always is कि अपनी thesis statement के अंदर हमेशा pluck out arguments from your outline, perhaps a couple of strongest arguments that you have in your outline, and add them in your thesis statement in order to augment your thesis statement, in order to make your thesis statement better, in order to make it less vague, because people end up writing very vague, very generic thesis statements which essentially don't hold. ठीक है? Or throughout your thesis statement should be imperative that your stance or your opinion on something should become very visible and very clear. Acha, I'm going to start looking at some other questions. FSP or PASS, which is one is better? So my decision to give foreign service was met with a lot of frowns and questions, and people were asking me कि, you know, what made you make this decision, considering that most people tend to go for PASS or police. And interestingly, during my own FPSC interview, the chairman himself said that hi Saddam, how are you? So a batchmate of mine is watching. A very good friend of mine is watching. So hi, I'm glad you're listening. He's also my batchmate. Abhi, he's in PASS, and he's also one of the few people who said that you are making a colossal mistake and you shouldn't go in FSP. So during my interview जो था उसका CSS का, तो उसमें the chairman basically said कि I don't think that you are going to perform as well in foreign service as you would in police, and I'm giving you another option. He gave me my form back and he said that आप kindly इसको दोबारा fill करें, and I suggest that you give police as your first preference, because मैंने foreign service as first preference दी थी और DMG और police को मैंने last और second last पे रखी थी. I know, very unconventional, but उस वक्त I obviously thought for like a second or two, okay, what should I do, but then I realized nahin, if I made a decision then I need to stick to it, because that is what integrity is about. So I stuck with foreign service, and I essentially think that this is not something that, you know, one should decide on the basis of what others are doing or decide on the basis of what is popular, because popularity tends to shift from one decision to another or from one group to another. It should essentially be about what you want out of life. Now, what I wanted out of life essentially was to travel a lot, to see the world. I have lived abroad for a considerable amount of time, around 4 or 5 years of my life. So I also wanted to continue to have some experience living abroad on my own, perhaps with the family later on. And foreign policy itself, devising foreign policy, being part of foreign policy, getting to interact with different cultures, all of this was something that really attracted me, especially considering that I was working in the NGO sector prior to giving the CSS exam. I was previously working for an NGO that dealt with climate change, और उसके बाद I started with an NGO that dealt with microfinance. So I used to meet a lot of diplomats from different countries. I used to meet diplomats from our countries, and I got to see just how much sway they have. I got to I applied to work at the UN many times, और मुझे mostly UN से एक दो बार तो rejection आई थी, एक दो बार shortlisting हुई थी. So I realized कि since my inclination is towards research, writing, debating, meeting people, having a social life, traveling around the world, and if people aspire for the UN, then why shouldn't I aspire for something even bigger, and in a way in which I can also give back to my country? And for me, foreign service made a lot of sense. Also, I've had some experience with the foreign service primarily because my father is a retired naval officer. So there are a lot of people who say that she's the daughter of a bureaucrat or a career diplomat. That is absolutely not true. My father is a retired naval officer, and during his tenure in the Pakistan Navy, he was posted as the defense attaché at our embassy in London, during which time we spent around 3 years in London, and my father served in the foreign service, obviously went as part of the foreign service, but as a defense attaché over there. And Maliha Lodi was the ambassador at that time in London, and I got to interact with her. I got to meet her closely, and she became a family friend of ours. So I got to personally see the power and the role that people have in terms of deciding Pakistan's relations and how individuals can actually make a difference. And it's not just about institutions, but it's also about individuals who can make a difference when it comes to devising our ties with other countries. And so I thought that and also I got to see a lot of the glamorous side of foreign service. Not having to pay taxes, having a diplomatic car, having diplomatic immunity, getting free houses and traveling, and all of these extra perks and privileges, all the social dining and events that are happening. So my parents got to meet the Prime Minister of UK, they got to meet the Queen, they got to go to Buckingham Palace, they got to meet different princes and princesses, and my father used to meet members of the American government, such as Condoleezza Rice, on a very regular basis. So I got to see the perks and the high life of the foreign service, essentially. And then I just became a lot more gravitated towards going for it. But everybody has different aspirations. I'm married to a batchmate of mine who is currently an assistant commissioner in the Inland Revenue Service, and he doesn't see himself in the foreign service, and that's perfectly fine because everybody has their own aspirations. Some people want to stay in Pakistan, some people want to move about, some people want different things. And I think that what matters really is whether or not how aware you are and how self-actualized you are in terms of what it is that you want out of your life, and how different groups whether or not different groups serve your personal interests or not. And I think at the end of the day, it really just boils down to your own personal inclinations. Acha ji, let me see. Diagrams are the precise way to make examiner understand, and I can explain him my views easily, and graphs. So I didn't make any drafts or any diagrams in my papers, aside from general science में मैंने एक बार सिर्फ bio का section था. I think the question was कि what happens to a piece of food when you put it in your mouth and it goes through your esophagus to the stomach. And मैंने थोड़ी सी फ्लो चार्ट सा बनाया था उस क्वेश्चन के लिए, sort of explain करने के लिए कि food किस तरह मूव करता है from the mouth to the esophagus, blah 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 blah. But that's about it. उसके अलावा I didn't make any diagrams, and I didn't make any graphs, and a lot of people I know didn't either. So it's perfectly fine if you don't do that. अच्छा जी. Any tips for GPP? The GPP is a very difficult subject. I personally did not get to come across any books, and I literally bought all the books that are available in store, but I didn't get to come across any books जिसमें GPP के बारे में मुझे comprehensively answers और solutions मिले. So what I did was I looked at I essentially looked at every topic. I googled every topic individually, and then what I did was कि उसके मुताबिक मैंने notes बनाए, and I looked at a lot of the policy papers from World Bank itself, or what World Bank's recommendations for Pakistan were, and then different models of how policies are made, and it was a very tiresome process. But essentially, I think GPP का best तरीका ये है कि just take the syllabus out, Google each topic individually, write PDF after you are done googling the topic name. PDF से result होता है कि जो search result आएंगे वो mostly research papers आएंगे और answers आएंगे. So that will be more relevant rather than just articles on random websites. How can we summarize our entire preparation in this month as CSS is just around the corner? Please suggest a strategy. I remember around this time I was just revising my notes like crazy. I wasn't wasting time giving mocks or writing mock answers, but what I was doing was just, I had compiled all my notes by then. But I did, my CSS attempt was very different in the sense that essay को मैंने काफ़ी हल्का लिया था in the sense that मुझे था कि जो भी मैं prep कर रही हूँ in terms of my optionals and my compulsory subjects, वो in any case मुझे essay में help करेंगे. So I really didn't have to expend extra time doing the essay. तो मुझे essay में मेरा time काफ़ी बचत हो गई थी. I didn't write like practice essays और उस तरह. And पेपर 2 के लिए भी जो सिनोनिम्स और एंटोनिम्स होते हैं वो मैंने रटे नहीं थे, बिकॉज आई थॉट टू माई सेल्फ के दुनिया में जितने भी सिनोनिम्स और एंटोनिम्स और चीज़ें मैं लर्न कर लूँगी, ईडियम्स लर्न कर लूँगी, व्हाट आर द चांसेस कि वही ईडियम उस दिन एग्जाम वाले दिन आएगा, तो द चांसेस ऑफ दैट आर वेरी स्लिम. ठीक है. सो आई थॉट दैट इंस्टेड ऑफ वेस्टिंग माई टाइम रटिफाइंग वोकैबलरी लिस्ट और सैट लिस्ट और वो जो भी GRE वोकैब लिस्ट होती है, ईडियम्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दोज, नॉट नोइंग इसमें से कौन सा आएगा, बिकॉज देर सो मेनी, आई रादर स्पेंड माई टाइम ऑन थिंग्स दैट आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट विल कम, लाइक पॉल साइम में डिफरेंट जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस वगैरह होते हैं. So my tip is to just figure out what subjects require how much time. For me, Islamiyat required a lot of time. Political science required a lot of time. So around this time, I was revising Islamiyat. I was revising political science. Gender के लिए मैंने अलग से कोई इतनी मेहनत नहीं की थी. I just went over names of notable women who had made an impact both pre-partition and post-partition, and then till now, different women-only organizations that have had a role, and I went over the different theories जो है gender की, वो मैंने Google कर ली थी, and then I used a lot of theories from sociology in my gender के answers as well, which I feel really helps. And sociology के लिए भी जहांगीर वर्ल्ड टाइम्स की जो पतली सी sociology की book है, A levels की जो sociology की book है, and then obviously just googling everything topic wise really helped me as well. और उसके अलावा जेंडर की थेरीज मैंने काफ़ी सोशियोलॉजी में डाली और सोशियोलॉजी की थेरीज मैंने काफ़ी जेंडर में डाली, बट जेंडर एंड सोशियोलॉजी एंड GPP आर सब्जेक्ट जिन पे मैंने ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगाया था. मे बी 2 to 3 days for these subjects. So 2 to 3 days for gender, 2 to 3 days for sociology, and maybe 4 to 5 days for GPP, क्योंकि उसमें नोट्स सर्च करने ढूंढने में ज़रा टाइम लगा था. बट ऑब्वियसली मुझे एक टिप दी गई थी, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स एब्सोल्युटली ट्रू, कि CSS के एग्जाम वाले दिन व्हेन यू सिट डाउन ऑन द टेबल, आपके सामने 4 क्वेश्चंस आपने अटेम्प्ट करने होते हैं. उसमें से हमेशा एक क्वेश्चन ऐसा होगा जो आपको नहीं आता होगा, जो आपको ऑन द स्पॉट उस वक्त अटेम्प्ट करना होगा, बिकॉज दिस सिलेबस इज सो एक्सपेंसिव, इट्स सो वास्ट दैट इट्स जस्ट नॉट, आई फील, ह्यूमनली पॉसिबल टू बी एबल टू से दैट ओके आई हैव कवर्ड द एंटायर सिलेबस एंड नाउ आई एम 100% ready for the exam, because I feel like no matter what, you are never 100% ready for the exam, and that is absolutely fine. So you should have the ability or the general knowledge to be able to BS on the spot essentially, and make stuff up on the spot and write on the spot. वो आप में ability होनी चाहिए और घबराना नहीं चाहिए. आधे लोग तो घबरा जाते हैं कि oh my god, पैनिक कर जाते हैं कि oh my god मुझे आंसर नहीं आता, ये चीज़ क्या नहीं आ गई है. जिस तरह फॉर इंस्टेंस I hadn't studied SEO with respect to Pakistan, वो क्वेश्चन आ गए थे, and I thought कि अच्छा at the end of the day है तो एक रीजनल बॉडी, तो उसके जो भी फवायद और नुकसानात होंगे वो वही होंगे जो जेनेरिकली एक रीजनल बॉडी के हो सकते हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू साउथ एशिया. सो जस्ट मेड स्टफ अप ऑन द स्पॉट. GPP में भी 18th अमेंडमेंट वगैरह आया था, आई मेड स्टफ अप ऑन द स्पॉट, बिकॉज unless it's something very specific like the decentralization model of Kerala, which you have to again Google and find the notes for, उसके अलावा काफ़ी जेनेरिक बातें हैं ब्यूरोक्रेसी के ऊपर, गवर्नेंस के ऊपर, पॉलिसी मेकिंग के इश्यूज़ के ऊपर, जो आप रैंडमली गूगल कर सकते हो, कॉमन सेंस से भी जवाब दे सकते हो. सो आई फील लाइक कॉमन सेंस विल गेट यू वेरी फार. Someone asked if making a thesis statement is compulsory in the outline. I feel like you should write a thesis statement in the outline, especially if it's an argumentative essay. Then you absolutely have to write a thesis statement, because on the get-go the examiner should be able to tell what your stance on the topic is and whether or not you have understood the topic correctly or not. So there are many topics जो लोग मार खा जाते हैं अक्सर, वो इसी चीज़ के ऊपर होता है कि आप लोग टॉपिक देखते हैं, या हम सब, आई एम ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ दिस, हम लोग टॉपिक देखते हैं और हम लोग उस टॉपिक की फर्स्ट रीडिंग में प्रिज्यूम करते हैं दैट अ टॉपिक मीन समथिंग विच इट डजंट. सो फॉर इंस्टेंस एक एग्जाम्पल ये है कि एंड जस्टिफाइज द मीन्स या मीन्स जस्टिफाइज द एंड, ये दोनों आ चुके हैं topics, and people used to get very confused between both. So end justifies the means and then means justifies the ends में confused हो जाते थे कि what means what. End justifies the means essentially means के I don't know if somebody will be able to answer. I'm just curious if somebody will be able to tell over here. Anyway, end justifies the means basically means के it's a Machiavellian concept, जिसमें कि as long as your end is noble and ethical and moral, it's whatever means you adopt in order to reach that end are fine. And then obviously you have to construe your examples उधर से. And मेरी recommendation हमेशा होती है कि if you are sitting on the table that day and you're not sure of what examples to write and where your arguments should be formulated from, then what you can do is, for instance, try to think of your 5 optional subjects and try to think of at least one argument per subject. So try to come up with an argument from IR or from pol sci. Try to come up with an argument from I-law. Try to come up with an argument from sociology or governance. इन सारे subjects में theories होती हैं, इन सारे subjects में philosophers की बातें होती हैं, डिफरेंट वर्ल्ड फैक्ट्स होते हैं, दुनिया में क्या हुआ होता है, यहीं से आपने अपनी आर्ग्यूमेंट्स प्लग करनी होती हैं और यहीं से ही आपने essentially अपनी argument बनानी होती है. तो you have to look at what's happening around the world and then be able to apply it to the given stance or the given opinion that's given on the topic उस वक्त. And that is basically your critical reasoning skills and your ability to analyze something critically that they are looking for. एक और जो issue है, for instance, classrooms define the future of the nation. अच्छा, अब ये लोग पढ़ते हैं and immediately 9.9 times out of 10 I would say immediately आप लोग ऐसे को फर्स्ट रीडिंग में पढ़ के प्रिज्यूम कर लेते हैं. आपका जो प्री कंसीव नोशंस होते हैं ना देख के कैन, और आप लोग प्रिज्यूम करते हैं कि ओके क्लासरूम्स का लफ्ज आया है, फ्यूचर ऑफ द नेशन का लफ्ज आया, ओके सो दिस टॉपिक इज अबाउट एजुकेशन. सो लेट मी wax eloquent or write an entire essay on the benefits of education and what the impact of education is on a society and how society can progress as a result of education, which is absolutely not true, because this topic essentially was specifically about classrooms, not about education overall. And this was about this wasn't just about because education can be given outside of classrooms too. You can have education through homeschooling. You can have education through the internet. There are different ways of making education, of having or receiving education outside of the purview of a classroom. So essentially, this was a debate between formal and informal means of education, and you had to expound upon how formal means of education through classrooms के क्या वो फ़वाइद हैं, क्या वो features हैं जो unique हैं, which enable society to progress. And you don't just have to talk about random benefits, but the topic is, it defines the future of a nation. So you have to be very specific and you have to talk about grand things because you are talking about the future of a nation. So it has to be like big changes. And you can give examples of countries. You can give examples of countries. You are my fave people. Okay, thank you so much. I don't know if Minhaj is watching or not. I'm not sure because he has his own training going on in Lahore. But if he is, then Minhaj, we have a fan. So essentially, I tend to get distracted very quickly, so I've completely forgotten what I was saying. What was I saying? Classrooms define the future of the nation. So essentially, you talk about the benefits of classroom, the different features of classrooms, and how those features feed into bringing about a tangible, concrete change in society. And you can talk about these changes in society by talking about, for instance, different countries in the world, using different countries as case studies, and seeing how tangible changes have taken place in different societies as a result of classrooms. And someone is saying, are headings important? So headings are important only for every subject aside from the essay. You don't include any headings in the essay. And this was something that I wasn't aware of either. तो मुझे भी ये बात एंड में बिल्कुल पता चली थी कि essay के अंदर headings नहीं बनाते. But yes, बाकी subjects के अंदर like पाक and current affairs and Islamiyat and IR वगैरह के लिए of course you have to make headings. But बाकी subjects के लिए no, you're not supposed to make headings. Political science books I think मैंने already add की हुई है उसके अंदर अपने उस page के ऊपर. So I think that's already covered. Abstract essay or argumentative essay, what do you prefer? So I don't know what you mean by an abstract essay. A lot of times abstract quotations tend to be argumentative essays, most of the times actually. I attempted the social media wala topic because I think that, do you know why most people failed in the tourism essay in 2020? Yeah, Roha, if you could just write the topic, tourism wala topic, I'll explain why most people failed it, because I need to know the exact wording and I'm forgetting it. And I don't have my laptop in front of me right now. So if you could just write the exact wording of the 2020 essay, I'll explain exactly क्यों लोगों ने fail किया था. I know why it's failed. I'm just trying to see more comments ताकि मैं एक इकट्ठे reply करूँ. Achha, I don't know why someone's saying Sar Minaj with a monkey. What does Sar Minaj do? So I'm just gonna wait on for Roha to, or any of you to tell me exact book kya tha. I think it was promoting tourism in Pakistan, prospects and challenges. Is tarah ka kuch tha. But I just wanna have okay. So so promoting tourism in Pakistan, prospects and challenges. Why did most people fail this essay was primarily because they ignored the word promoting. They just looked at tourism and they listed the benefits of tourism and the challenges of tourism in Pakistan. You didn't have to write about things like economically हम कितना progress करेंगे, poverty हमारी alleviate होगी, employment rate हमारी बढ़ेगी, soft image हमारे मुल्क की बढ़ेगी, blah blah blah. ठीक है, these aren't the reasons that were asked in this essay. You had to talk about promotion of tourism, कि अभी क्या prospects हैं, यानी अभी क्या opportunities हैं जो हम utilize या harness कर सकते हैं in order to promote tourism. सही है. So social media channels कितने available हैं, पाकिस्तान कितने regional blocks का signatory है या member है, हमारी foreign service के missions को कितना काम है, कितना progressively काम कर रहे हैं, कितना actively काम कर रहे हैं as far as promotion of tourism is concerned. So पाकिस्तान में क्या वो factors available हैं जो for instance एक outsider harness कर सकता है, utilize कर सकता है in order to be able to promote tourism. So people forgot the word promotion of tourism and they just focused on benefits of tourism, and that is why a lot of people ended up failing. So I don't know why ये कोई conception है and people keep asking. I did not give the CSS in 2020. खुदा का खौफ करें. I am done with this chapter in my life. And I gave the exam एक ही बार. This was my first and last attempt. Alhamdulillah, Allah kare, inshallah, touch wood. But no, I didn't give the exam, and I got a few comments on this page and I got a few comments on Twitter as well, and I think that's probably spurred by the fact that when people heard that I got married, they presume that my husband, because he's not in the foreign service, so now it's going to be difficult for me to stay in the foreign service, and so now I will presumably change. But no, aisa kuch bhi nahi hai. Alhamdulillah, I have a very supportive partner, and something that you need to be aware of is the fact that even if you are both in the same service, so for instance, even if both of you are in DMG or police or customs or whatever, or if both of you are in services which are Pakistan based, chances of you being in the same city, being posted in the same city, chances of you living a normal married life in the sense of staying together all the time are very slim and very few and far in between, primarily because is tarah nahi hota. Chances are that your husband might be posted in one city, you might be posted in another city, etc. So if two people are CSPs and they're a couple, then you have to resign yourself with the fact that you will probably not be spending a huge chunk of your life together. और फॉरेन सर्विस में हो के कोई ज़्यादा डिफ़िकल्टी नहीं होती इफ़ योर पार्टनर इज़ इन अनदर सर्विस, प्राइमरीली बिकॉज देर आर मैनी, आपका पार्टनर लीव्स ले सकता है, आपका पार्टनर स्टडी लीव्स पे जा सकता है आपके साथ. So if you're posted somewhere, for instance, New York, then your husband can just, apply to a university around that vicinity and get a scholarship and then apply there. Thank you so much, Ali Zulkarnain. So you can apply there and study together. I can forego some postings and continue to stay in Mofa over here and work here. Or we can take some postings together. He can take a long leave. I can take a leave. So there are many different ways of meeting each other halfway. So, and these are difficulties which honestly any couple faces as long as both of them are in the service. And I think zindagi mein koi cheez, परफेक्ट नहीं होती, कोई चीज़ वो इस तरह नहीं होती कि अच्छा अब बस आपकी लॉटरी निकल आई एंड एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग टू बी परफेक्ट. देयर आर हार्डशिप्स एंड देयर डिफिकल्टीज विद एवरी डिसीजन दैट यू टेक, every step of the way in life, and that is just part of life and you have to meet it head on. You don't just give up and give the exam again or whatever. Acha, I'm just waiting for more questions to come. How to start an answer to a question like punching line. I wish there was an answer to that. I don't really have an answer to that. I don't think इसमें क्या मैं कह सकती हूँ कि क्या punching line होनी चाहिए. But try not to be very vague and generic. Try not to start with quotations or facts and statistics. People are asking कि what are some tips for the interview. Honestly, please don't do what academies are saying कि इस तरह खड़े होके बैठना है और इस तरह चलना है, इस तरह कपड़े पहनने हैं, ये करना वो करना. Just be yourself. A lot of the questions that they asked me, I replied with asking them more questions. Ke, acha, theek hai, if in your opinion, this is the situation of Afghanistan, then what more can Pakistan do? What more do you expect Pakistan should have done? So I met especially Habibullah Khattak, who was very argumentative and very blunt in our interviews, generally हमारे batch में. So a lot of the things that he said, I didn't just say कि sir Dawn में ये लिखा हुआ था and just started randomly quoting facts and figures. I gave every answer based on my personal opinion, and if there are things that I didn't agree with the interviewer or the panel, there are things in which my opinion differed. There are things in which I simply didn't have the requisite information. I was very blunt and honest about it. They asked me about sectarian issues that are faced by people in Sindh and why is it so, and I said that I was born in Karachi, so I might have been born in Karachi, but I've spent a very few amount of my years in Karachi, so I can either give you a bookish answer, which any candidate would be able to do based on Google and based on news reports. But if you're asking me for a personal, in-depth answer, then I'm sorry, I can't give it to you, because you can either ask me a question related to Islamabad, which is my city and where I've grown up in. But for me to sit here and comment on the ethnic rivalries taking place in Sindh outside of Dawn or outside of newspaper, outside of the common narrative, then I'm not the right candidate for that. So I gave very blunt, very honest answers. And आपने इस थॉट के साथ उस हॉल के अंदर जाना इंटरव्यू देने के लिए कि CSS सब कुछ नहीं है दुनिया में. दिस इज नॉट इट. दिस इज नॉट एवरीथिंग. देयर इज मच 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 मोर टू लाइफ देन जस्ट एग्जाम एंड जस्ट दिस करियर और एनी करियर फॉर दैट मैटर. तो अगर ये दिन ये नहीं भी होता, आप फेल हो भी जाते हो, तो सो व्हाट, ऑन टू समथिंग बिगर एंड बेटर, राइट. तो और मेरी फैमिली में कोई ब्यूरोक्रेट है ही नहीं, कोई दूर दूर से ब्यूरोक्रेट नहीं है. तो इसलिए मुझे ऑनेस्टली मेरी फैमिली में इतने CSS का ना हाइप है, ना था, ना कभी होगा, बिकॉज आई कम फ्रॉम अ मिलिट्री फैमिली. ऑलमोस्ट एवरीबडी इज इन द मिलिट्री इन माई फैमिली. तो इसलिए ब्यूरोक्रेट्स के इतना कोई हाइप नहीं है मेरी फैमिली में. तो मुझे इतना वो नहीं था कि ओ माय गॉड मैं फेल कर जाऊंगी तो पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा एंड CSS रह जाएगा. मुझे तो इतना वो हाइप नहीं था. परहैप्स दैट हेल्प मी अ लॉट, बिकॉज दैट मेंट दैट आई वाज वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट and I was myself, and I really didn't let the panel get to me, and I really didn't let the big deal of the just the kya lafz hoga, just I didn't allow myself to get overwhelmed by the gravity or the enormity of the situation. So Roha is saying, people say first few lines of introductions of essays should be very catchy. What if I don't have any catchy stories examples? That is absolutely fine. Try to write something about the importance of the topic, the currency of the topic, how it's increasingly being debated and discussed, and then launch into why it's being debated and discussed. And automatically एक smooth flow बन जाएगी. Be like academia, think tank, policy circles में topic बहुत current है, बहुत debated है, hotly contested है. There are myriad of different arguments for this topic and against this topic, some of which are blah 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 blah. Or you can give a little background information, maybe 1 to 2 sentences, that's it. about the topic, about how, if it's about an event or if something that's happening in Pakistan or in the world, why is it happening, how is it happening, or the importance of something, education ke upar hai, human rights ke upar hai, to how it's increasingly becoming important in our lives, be it whether you're from the developed world or developing world. इस तरह करके कोई generics अगर आप वो दे दें, starting there, so I feel like that is more than enough. The more you overthink the starting sentence, the more nervous you will be, and the more chances are, the higher the chances are that you might actually end up writing something that isn't very outstanding. So my philosophy always is, don't fret about it, it'll come naturally to you, but try to devote the first 1 or 2 sentences, or the first 3 sentences of your introduction to essentially discussing a second, just give me 1 second. Yes, to essentially discussing the importance of a topic, the reason that the topic exists, and just ask yourself, why is the examiner mentioning this topic today? Why is the examiner holding this topic of such importance that it's been discussed, that it has been mentioned, that has come in the CSS exam this year? And just write your own 2 cents about it. That's pretty much it. In which department you are currently working now? I'm at the Foreign Service Academy. How important are examples and statistics and essays? Examples are very important. Every single argument that you give. Statistics you don't have to include. I myself am not good at that, so I didn't include any statistic whatsoever. But every argument that you make needs to be substantiated or supported with an example. You cannot give any argument without substantiating it with something that you have read in a book, that some theory, some event that's happened in the world, something to show that you are, you have some knowledgeable basis of what you are saying. Because you can't just make an argument. The examiner isn't interested in what, for instance, Arif or Fawad or Roha have to say. The examiner is interested in what Arif, Fawad or Roha have learned somewhere and read somewhere, and how they are able to weave it into the answers here and ensure that it is of relevance. That is what the examiner is looking at. You were telling, why did you choose social media as so it's a descriptive topic tha, easy topic tha, straightforward topic tha. I initially started writing an outline on literacy, pata nahi, barren life, kuch busyness, barren life, pata nahi, kuch is tarah tha. Busyness, beware the life, the barrenness of a busy life. Is tarah ka topic naam tha. I thought that'd be very interesting, but when I started making the outline for it, the rough outline for it, I realized कि इसमें 1 या 2 arguments से ज़्यादा arguments इसके बारे में नहीं लिख सकूँगी. And ideally, you should be writing at least 6 to 7 arguments to support your stance or the main viewpoint, which is essentially the heart or the crux of the entire essay. So I realized rough outline banate हुए I won't be able to do justice to this topic, so let's just play it safe. There's a lot hanging on the line with this attempt. There's a lot of mehnat and effort that's gone in. It's just not worth the risk. Let's just play it safe. Because remember, आपने अपने compulsory subjects में सिर्फ pass करना होता है, आपने अपने optional subjects में score high करना होता है, if you know, so that your allocation inshallah is supported, and it's your allocation on the merit list is of a high number. लेकिन आपने ऑप्शनल कंपल्सरी सब्जेक्ट इस मोटिव से नहीं देना कि अच्छा मैंने एसए में 40 नहीं लेना, मैंने 70 लेना है. नो, प्ले इट सेफ, एम फॉर अ 40 इन द एसए बिकॉज द चांसेस आर ऑफ गेटिंग अ 40 आर वेरी लो, unfortunately, because of the increased competition for the CSS. So try to focus on just clearing the compulsory subjects, and optionals में आप फिर बाकी जो मार्क्स हैं वो उठा सकते हैं. Environmental science or gender, honestly, these are subjects are not something that you should ask somebody about, because I don't know you and I don't know your capabilities and your academic background. So you should choose your subject yourself, and I never recommend somebody to take a subject on the basis of कि जी ये स्कोरिंग है, ये नहीं है, बिकॉज आप कभी प्रिडिक्ट नहीं कर सकते कि नेक्स्ट ईयर कौन सा सब्जेक्ट मार खाएगा, कौन सा सब्जेक्ट नहीं मार खाएगा. कोई सब्जेक्ट मार खा भी लेते और आप वो लेते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप उसमें आपकी इंटरेस्ट है और आपके बैकग्राउंड है और आपको समझ आ रहा है, तो आपको वो फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा वेदर वो मार खा रहे हैं या नहीं. So never take subjects on the basis of these trends. Never take the never adopt a subject or take a subject on the basis of what everybody else is telling you to do. Do it by going through the syllabus and by going through the past papers of different subjects. Peruse them, get comfortable with them, understand whether or not you'll be able to do it, whether or not these are, जब आप एक सिलेबस देखते हैं और पास्ट पेपर देखते हैं, उनमें से अगर एक भी कोई ऐसा टॉपिक है, एक भी कोई सवाल है जो आपको लगता है आप पढ़े बगैर भी कॉमन सेंस से अपनी personal knowledge से दे सकते हैं, then go for that subject, because the chances are that when that subject comes, when the paper comes, there will be questions which you have not prepared, but you need to be able to have some brief background knowledge, कुछ थोड़ी सी foundation in that subject to be able to make things up on the go on that day. तो अगर कोई बिल्कुल ही फॉरेन सब्जेक्ट है फॉर मी, अगर ये होता फॉर इंस्टेंस पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, ठीक है, या बिजनेस स्टडीज, जो इसके बारे में मैंने कभी भी नहीं पढ़ा हुआ, लेकिन जो फॉर इंस्टेंस ट्रेंडिंग है, जो स्कोरिंग है उस साल या उन कुछ साल, आई वुड स्टिल नॉट गो फॉर इट एवर, बिकॉज दीज आर थिंग्स, जो ये ऐसा सब्जेक्ट है जो मैं रट भी लूँ, लेकिन उस दिन अगर कोई ऐसा उस पर क्वेश्चन है जिसके बारे में मुझे अलिफ बे नहीं पता, तो आई वोंट बी एबल टू लाइक कॉन्जर थिंग्स अप आउट ऑफ थिन एयर ऑन दैट डे. So it's very important कि आपकी क्या familiarity level, and you can only gauge that if you go over the past papers and the syllabus, look at it topic wise, and it's perfectly fine अगर पहले एक दो बार आपको कुछ समझ ना आए कि oh my god ये क्या हो रहा है. मेरे साथ भी ये हुआ था, मैंने पाक अफेयर्स और करंट अफेयर्स के पास पेपर्स देखे थे और मेरी तो जान निकल गई थी कि I will not be able to do the CSS, this is not for me, I can't do it, this is too difficult, ये CPEC क्या होता है, how do I go about it, what is this, ये क्या है. And I remember मेरी छोटी बहन, who must have been at like class 5 or 6, she बेचारी bought me her social studies की copy and showed me कि अच्छा देखिए CPEC के मैंने ये notes बनाए हुए हैं, ये है, calm down, it's okay, and I borrowed her Islamiyat book, and so I started off also from a point where I was completely blank and completely scared and overwhelmed कि how is it even humanly possible to be able to cover these subjects. And the idea is that you're not supposed to cover all the subjects, and in the sense that you're not supposed to cover every single topic or every single point in each syllabus for every subject. You're not supposed to be कहते हैं ना, वो होता है saying है कि be a jack of all but master of none. That is essentially what CSS is. थोड़ा मोटा मोटा आपको हर चीज के बारे में पता हो, इन डेप्थ किसी चीज के जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि उस वक्त आपके पास आधा घंटा होता है, 20 मिनट पर 20 मार्क्स पर क्वेश्चन होते हैं. You don't even have that much time to be able to write an entire PhD thesis on each topic. So please don't spend like days on 2 or 3 topics. Try to cover at least 6 to 7 topics per day, or at least 5 to 6 topics per day, and make like 4 to 5 pages worth of notes per topic, not more than that. Someone is saying that you're making the CSS sound so easy. Honestly speaking, it isn't as difficult as people make it out to be. What really matters is how you perform on the day of the exam. उस दिन वो मेक और ब्रेक होता है. अगर आपने इस सारी गेम नर्व्स की होती है, सारी गेम कॉन्फिडेंस की होती है, विल पावर की होती है. यू गो इन with the understanding that this is not it, your life will not end if you don't clear it. इतनी कोई big deal नहीं है CSS, तो trust me, you will perform much better. Go in with a lot of confidence in yourself, go in with a lot of self-confidence, and you will perform much better than somebody who has a lot of knowledge but is all over the place and is just a complete wreck. And I had personal friends with me giving their time, जिनके साथ exactly यही हुआ था कि एग्जाम हॉल अंदर जाने से पहले भी जल्दी रट रहे हैं, किताबें देख रहे हैं, उनकी मार्क्स मेरे से कम थे, even though मैंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया था. क्यों? क्योंकि they didn't have the confidence in themselves, so when the paper came they panicked, and जो बातें आती भी थी वो भी वो भूल गई, and they were fixating on such small things like headings किस तरह कैची करनी है, किस तरह कैची करना है, that they lost the entire bigger picture, which is कि आप, as long as आप, what you're writing makes sense, as long as you are quoting, not quoting but citing a lot of examples, या different sources of knowledge in your answers, as long as your writing is neat, and as long as you're relevant. So if they've asked you about FATF, then instead of spending like 10 or 20 minutes outlining the history of Pakistan with FATF and and how FATF is composed and kitne members and kaise hai, so that is not what the question is asking you for. Get to the point, get to the main point. Don't waste your time giving the history of, for instance, the Kashmir issue or Indus Water Treaty ki sari kya points hain, because everybody knows that you have ratified and you are just showing to the examiner that you are good at rata, but you're not good at understanding what the examiner is actually asking you to write about, and your critical analysis is weak essentially. Why FSP वो मैं already answer कर चुकी हूँ. Why FSP, it's my passion. For me it was FSP or nothing. I honestly, if I would have gotten into any other service, I wouldn't have joined the civil service, because for me it was FSP or nothing. It's my own personal interest. मुझे I feel like I can perform better. मेरी जो जिस तरीके से तरबियत हुई है, जो मेरी personality है, जो मेरी likes and dislikes हैं, they're much more suited for a service like FSP as opposed to others. How can we write our reference sources in the end of the answer instead of mentioning within body? You're not supposed to write your reference sources in the end of the answer. You're supposed to mention it within the body. So this isn't like उस तरह का research paper कि आप end में bibliography या work cited देंगे. You're supposed to weave in citations within the answer itself. Best writer for expression, I don't know. I haven't ever looked at writers for expression. I just write naturally, I guess, and I think everybody should. Shanza, if I share your CSS interview experience, I've already done that, and the do's and don'ts of the interview. I'll be preparing at the interview with the panel in March this year. Okay, best of luck, Mariam. My best wishes to you. I've already mentioned this extensively abhi. Maybe you joined late, in which I said that just be yourself. Please don't focus too much on किस तरह बैठना है, किस तरह उठना है, हाथ कौन सा रेज करना है, आई कांटेक्ट करना है नहीं करना. Just be completely natural. जिस तरह मैं अभी आप लोगों से बात कर रही हूँ, exactly मैंने उसी तरह बात की थी एग्जाम वाले दिन. यही इंसान थी मैं, यही इसी तरह मैंने बात की थी. I was just very confident, but not overconfident, because you don't want to come across as cocky or arrogant. ठीक है, or rude for that matter. You should understand how enormous of an opportunity that it is that you've been given, and you should be grateful for that, and you should be grateful to them for, you know, I don't know, they probably don't have a role in your selection up till the point of the interview. Interview के बाद ही panel का role आता है, but nonetheless, give them the impression that you are very grateful to them, and you want to serve your country, but then you should be very sure about why is it that you have chosen a particular group, and your answers should be very convincing. I know some people who didn't score well in the interview primarily because ये जो basic question था कि why civil service या why DMG or police or whatever, तो उसका वो सही तरीके से जवाब नहीं दे पाए थे, और पता चल गया था पैनल को कि इनके आंसर्स या इनका रीज़न यही है कि पावर, शशके, बत्तियाँ, गाड़ियाँ, ग्रीन नंबर प्लेट, फ्ला फ्ला फ्ला, पैसा, ये बेसिकली वही जेनेरिक रीजंस हैं, एंड इंट्रिंसिकली इनमें वो मोटिवेशन नहीं है टू जॉइन द सर्विस फॉर द रीजंस व्हाई पीपल शुड जॉइन द सर्विस. तो दीज आर, यू शुड रियली बी अवेयर ऑफ व्हाई इज इट दैट यू हैव चोजन दिस लाइफ, and why is it that you want to be a civil servant, and why you want to go in a particular group, and how everything that you have done in your life has literally been leading you towards this one point in life, and you should be aware of that, and you should be able to communicate it. And if you don't know an answer to any question, feel free to let them know कि मुझे इसका आंसर नहीं पता. Getting wrong answers makes no difference whatsoever. It's perfectly fine. You can say I don't know. You can excuse yourself from answers that you don't know about. Yeah, if you feel like a question is something that you shouldn't know about, like you're not supposed to know about this, primarily because this I was asked about, I've already told about sectarian strife, ethnic strife in Sindh, and I'm not from Sindh, so I said that I can either give you generic answers from the books, which I have ratified as any candidate would have who is, reading Dawn Ajkal. But if you want a very candid answer, a very personal answer, then I won't be able to offer you that, because I'm not from Sindh. I was born in Karachi, but that doesn't mean that my domicile is from Sindh, or I come from a Sindhi family. So I don't think I'm the best person to be able to answer that. And then they asked me about Afghanistan, and they said, what more should we do? And I said, what more should we do? I mean, why do you even expect us to do more? We've already gone above and beyond. And I think we've already done more than our capacity. And the onus now lies on the Afghan populace to, lend a hand. And I think we need to stop asking this question, what more should we do? We've done enough. So इस तरह के जवाब आप honest किस्म के आप दे सकते हैं. You don't have to, answer in the way that everybody else is answering and be fake, essentially. Just be yourself is my biggest tip. I think that I think we should wrap up today's session, primarily because this was very interesting, and it was as a last answer. Is it essential to make an outline for every question? What about, no, it's not essential to make an outline for every question. This is something I learned myself, because जिन्होंने outline बनाई थी और जिन्होंने नहीं बनाई थी उनके सारों के marks एक जैसे ही थे, तो outline से कोई इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता. I didn't take IR, so I can't answer about IR. Can we do PhD during the service after completion of the training? Yes, you can. Political science books are not covered in any post. I've gone through all of them. Please, अच्छा, पता है, I'll check political science वाली books के बारे में. But I didn't use books इतना. I used internet. I use online sources. Honestly, for everything, आजकल internet का ज़माना है. Everything is available online. You don't even have to look at books. You don't have to go through books जो generic किस्म की होती हैं, जो honestly Wikipedia से copy pasted होती हैं. So I thought, और plus मुझे था कि books तो सबके पास होंगी, so my answers need to be unique. My answers need to be different. So they should be from online or material sources, and essentially online sources. I don't know what ma'am required for pass means. Position of thesis statement. क्या मतलब position of thesis statement? Needs to be in the outline, needs to be the start of the outline before you write your introduction, the heading of the introduction. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up today's session. It was, thank you so much, Ali Zulkarnain, Jazakallah. I'm going to wrap up today's session. It was extremely interesting to interact with all of you. I'm going to keep these. I'm going to make them a regular feature on the page because it's actually very fun to interact with all of you. It's refreshing. And I'm going to, next time मैं थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा advanced में बताऊँगी कि मैं कब लाइव आ रही हूँ, ताकि आप लोगों के पास भी ज़रा ज़्यादा क्वेश्चंस हो पूछने के लिए and और लोग ज्वाइन कर सकें. But thank you so much for everybody who asked questions and everybody who participated. It was a pleasure to talk to all of you. And I'm just glad to see that such kind and nice people are aspiring to give the exam and hopefully will become future civil servants of Pakistan. We need people who have the, on the very basic level, who have the tameez of talking and who know what to say when, and who are empathetic, conscientious human beings. And it seems like aap logon ki baaton se that you people are, and I'm just really glad that such people are attempting to give the civil service. It's an absolutely brilliant service to be part of, irrespective of whichever group you are in. And mehnat daba ke kare, exam bilkul around the corner hai. Everybody who clears the exam doesn't have any special edge or anything extraordinary in them. They are just human beings who perhaps got lucky, who perhaps just got lucky in the sense that उस दिन जो questions आए वो उनको आते थे, किसी और दिन कोई और questions आते तो वो ना कर पाते हो, जो उस दिन अपना कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं लूज किया, जो उस दिन कोई उनकी दुआ कबूल होगी, कोई उनकी माँ की दुआ कबूल होगी. तो just have faith in Allah and have faith in yourself and just know that, कुछ साल पहले मैं भी आपकी पोजीशन में थी, where I was just dying to find any and जितनी भी information मुझे मिल सकती है about CSS as humanly possible. And I just felt like कोई sincerely कोई जवाब देता ही नहीं है, कोई CSS कैसे के बारे में कोई बताता ही नहीं है. So, and I am trying my level best to be able to not fall in the same category as other people, जिनसे मैं खुद frustrate होती थी. So I am trying to give back as much as is humanly possible, as much as time allows, essentially. But thank you so much everybody who participated and who came online. और मैंने आप सबके chats पढ़ी हैं. And stay blessed. Best of luck for your attempt. And yes, Asma, I will definitely do more sessions. And I will keep interacting with you people, and I'll let you know perhaps a day in advance so that you can, make adjustments accordingly in your schedule. And I hope that today's session was informative for you all, and I hope कि कुछ आप लोग, if nothing else, तो बस ये अपने साथ at least key takeaway लेके जाएं कि CSS is not that difficult and you have it in you, you can do it, and you do not let anyone else tell you otherwise. ठीक है? Thank you so much everybody. Have a nice day. Allah Hafiz.